What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe. Live out there in California covering this New Orleans Saints team. Unfortunately, no joint practices to break down this week, but we do have a preseason game to talk about. And yeah, Nick, kind of sucks, man. Obviously, I am I have staked my claim that there's gold in these here hills. I am a carny. I was hoping for some Carfax that I could try to sell people. Unfortunately, now there's a lot of good. I'm going to get to it, but unfortunately, that one offense left a lot to be desired. And even more unfortunately, it's one of those situations where it's like maybe you were going to the first day of school and you had all these insecurities building in your head, but then you try to tell yourself, you know what, maybe it's actually not going to be that bad. I don't have acne. I'm not overweight. And then you get to school and the bully immediately calls you a pimple-faced fat ass, right? And like all of your insecurities are just reinforced and deepened because the offensive line looked like the weakness and Derek Carr didn't necessarily look like he dealt with it well.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. So look, I think the thing is I'm not worried about the offense as a whole. I'm worried about right tackle. I think that's kind of where my concerns lie. Like, I don't think they showed a whole lot. Like, the stuff we're seeing out here is a lot different than what we saw in the game. And I would just point back to the depth chart. Like, you look at the offensive depth chart, and like there was stuff on there that it looked like they were trying to hide in the same mentality you come into this game, and a lot of stuff they're doing in practice they aren't doing in the game. And it just seems like maybe that's the method of operation with the staff, is that they don't want to show their hands until they have to show their hand, and that's fine. Like, you still got to be able to do it though when the actual games start. And the level of operation in this was pretty poor. Like, you come out and it's just like, if it's just, hey, line up and play, you want them to be able to line up and play. And there wasn't a lot of stuff that looked very good, but I don't think that's representative of what we're going to see over the course of 17 weeks of the season. But I do think that the inability to block might be. And that's a little bit scary. I mean, that was the biggest concern coming into everything. And then you go into the game and right tackle can't block. I mean, that's, I just don't know what they're going to do with Penning overall, because it looked to me like if you come at him with power, like he was on skates on a bull rush, and if you came at him with speed, like he was kind of stuck in place. And I don't know how you fix that. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe there's a way to get it serviceable over the next 3 weeks until a game. But the concerns are. I mean, I'm terrified by it, and I didn't think Lucas Patrick was great either. So I mean, it's 2 out of 5 spots on the line that I think they got to find some answers for. And if they do block a little bit better, like there was a screen that I thought was left on the field that would have probably been, I don't know, maybe a 15-20 yard gain, and then there's a pass to Olave that obviously got interrupted by pressure off the right side. If they hit those 2 plays, and let's say that play to Carr goes for a touchdown, like I think the feel of things are quite different, and that's just blocking, and that's with all the other plays still looking like a mess. So I think if you can clean that up a little bit, like maybe there's something there. But like, yeah, I mean, the problem is when you bring in the motions, play action, all that stuff, like you can take some pressure off the offensive line, but at some point it's going to be 3rd and 12, and you got to throw a deep ball, and you just got to drop, and your quarterback's on a 5-7 step drop. Your tackles have to block. Can they do it? And I don't know. Fuaga I thought was good, but Penning, I mean, man, I think you look at it one more time, and if it isn't better this weekend, like I think you seriously have to consider doing something different, because like that is not. Would they play 9 snaps and like 2 or 3 of them are blown up by him? Like
crazy.
That's not doable in a real game situation.
And unfortunately, it's indicative of what happened.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask the question, like, how many weeks until you see him replaced? But I think you're right. I don't think that you get to the regular season. If you show up or not show up, I guess I should say, like you did against the Cardinals, like you're not going to start in week number 1. And so, Nick, if he can't get it right, if he can't get rid of the yips, because he absolutely has them right now, what does right tackle look like for the Saints heading into week 1? Like, what are the other options?
Landon Young's an option. I haven't.
He played terrible too.
Uliudo is another option.
He actually played well, though.
Yeah, I'm okay with him. He had the back-to-back penalties, but outside of that, like I thought, I think he had 15 blocking snaps, and I don't think he had a lot of pressure on any of them. Like,
No.
so he looks like maybe, like, and again, those are against the 2s and 3s, but like maybe you can put him out there and just be serviceable. I don't think there's any scenario where that position thrives. I just think you need to be able to just hide the fact that you have a problem. And I'm not talking about like a smooth road, like just cover up the pothole a little bit. Like, that's all it needs to be. And if you can do that, maybe you can be all right. But what they're doing now doesn't work. So I think that's where I would probably look to have Mark Evans on the team too. He was around last year. He seems to be an okay player, but there isn't a situation where I think they can do something where you feel good about this. Not with what they have in house. I doubt there's a free agent out there that's actually making a difference. Bakhtiari's still available, but like, there has to be something wrong if he's still out there. It's just not. Yeah, I would say for me, it's one more week, and if it doesn't work, I mean, I think you got to use that last preseason game to like maybe get somebody else some reps, alongside somebody they're going to be playing with. So, I don't know, man. It's a terrifying situation. I mean, I think you go through the offseason and you're like, all right, first round pick, new staff, new position. Like, there has to be a way to just get this guy with these physical traits, this athleticism, to just like a okay place. And it just seems not to be happening. And he's had every opportunity. He had all last season. He had the opportunity to start last year, didn't work. Had the opportunity to be the jumbo guy, didn't work. He has this whole offseason. It's rough when the guy that trained him, Duke Manyweather, is tweeting that it looks like he's abandoned all his technique and reverted to something they didn't see during their training during the offseason. I mean, like, if your coach is your trainer's kind of stepping away from the situation, like that's a rough look.
Yeah, he don't want people to think that he taught them what he's doing. So he's like trying to separate himself. You're right. It's like doomsday scenario. He's like, wait a minute, hold up. That is not what I taught. I don't want people thinking that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I've never seen that before. I've never seen that happen before. I mean, it's not good. It's not a good situation. And I don't know. Maybe there's a way. Maybe there's a way just to get it to okay, because like he has looked better than that. What we saw right there in practices. Practices still have not been good. What we've seen in practices was still like worrisome. This is a step further to like completely alarming though. And now it's like you got to get back to worrisome to get to just not absolutely a train wreck. And I don't know. I don't know if there's enough time, and I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, I think they got to be seriously looking at trying to do something else.
David Bakhtiari's just out there, just floating around.
Remember, he had a bunch of injury stuff. He could barely play games last year for the Packers.
Okay, so I mean,
he can't play on turf.
Okay, just can't, just flat out can't.
I think he won't.
Okay.
I don't think he will. But
all right, Nick, let's get something positive though, because obviously that's a big concern. That's going to be the highlight. But if this team is going to be a playoff team, it's going to be because of defense. 9th in scoring defense 2 years ago, 6th last year. I mean, to just fully give myself over to reactionary hype, the D-line was friggin' awesome. Chase Young was very much what was advertised. I mean, 4 sacks, 15 pressured, seeing Brzee get involved, seeing Nathan Shepard get involved, Granderson seeming uber confident. Secondary, even without Lattimore, looks solid. Like, this feels like it could be a top 5 group in the entire league. What was your most positive takeaway from Saturday?
Yeah, defense definitely is way up there. A lot of the stuff, like you said, on the front, I thought looked pretty good. Willie Gay, I think, looked pretty good. The secondary looked good. I mean, I think everything on that side of the ball looked pretty solid overall. It looks like they have decent depth in a lot of spots on defense. The linebacker thing is really big to me. Like, figuring out how to stop mobile guys, like at the quarterback position, I think is a huge thing for them, and that's supposed to be Willie Gay's specialty. And I think you really saw the instincts and the range in that game. And I think when they're playing the Eagles, like, I feel a little bit better about their ability to slow them down and keep Hurts contained if he's part of that package, and he probably will be. So that was a big thing for me. both the backup quarterbacks I thought looked really good. I like where both of them are headed. I mean, Hayner looks like somebody that's developing the right way. I think Rattler, showed in the game that he's someone that has upside. And I know everybody's excited about that game. I thought he looked way better in practice than he did in the game, and I thought he looked pretty solid in moments in the game. And I'm excited to see where he goes from there. But if he gets to peak practice level in one of these next two games, people are going to be really, really going crazy over some of the stuff that he's been able to do. But yeah, there were a handful of bright spots. I think overall, the way they played in this game, I think kind of is representative of everything we've seen in practice, except for how the first team performed. But I think everything else that we thought was worrisome showed up as worrisome. I think everything that we thought was good showed up is good. I think it was good to see Charlie Smith hit a game-winning field goal. His leg is insane, and it's the consistency I think is the biggest factor. And then the other one is can he do this with people actually watching him? That was the first time he's ever kicked a field goal in a football game. So there's a bunch of stuff that I think that I think look pretty good overall. I'm worried about the tackle spot, of course, and I'm a little bit worried about running back. I think they wanted to be able to be okay without Kendre Miller, and it kind of feels like, man, they really need him back at that spot. I thought Jamal was okay, but he looks I don't know, maybe lacking a little bit of burst. So I think if they got Kendre back, that would shore up that position a little bit. But overall, I thought pretty good. Dallin Holker, I thought was okay. Left some blocking things I thought need to be a little bit better, but it was a decent starting spot. So yeah, I mean, I think the big takeaway though, like you said, definitely the defense. They look like they can be the backbone of this team, and I think they will be improved on that. Within the front seven.
Hey, what about a player that we've talked about, we don't really know anything about, but you certainly have draft capital in that player, is Isaiah Foskey. He played 55 snaps the other night. Did you see anything from Isaiah Foskey that makes you believe that he can help this team in any way outside of special teams?
Not in the game, no. I mean, and that was one of the other big takeaways. I mean, I thought that was pretty disappointing overall. There's been glimmers of some stuff. I think when he's able to use his athleticism, he can win. But when it starts coming to put together a pass rush plan and counters and stuff like that, I just don't think it's gotten there quite yet. There's been a couple little moments, a couple times. We post the one-on-one videos every day on our website, and there is evidence of him being able to win within those videos, but it definitely didn't happen here. And again, it's some of these guys they brought in on the defensive line, over the last 4 or 5 years. It's been just so they haven't hit on them. They haven't hit on them. Yeah,
horrible.
Fuanga looks like he could be good, but yeah, I feel you do. I guess Fuanga and Brzee, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got two there. I mean, big school guys, I guess. I mean, that's a little. I guess Foskey's Notre Dame though. So I don't know.
What about Turner, Nick? I feel like in the practice reports, Peyton Turner's name's been popping up. I have no expectation, but has he been moving in the right direction?
He was moving in the right direction last year, the year before. I think he practices well. I think he succeeds. It's really for him. It's just health. That's it. I really think that. I mean,
so he could. You would think he could be pretty good if he would play.
Yeah, he would definitely be pretty good if he could play. I don't think he has the ceilings that Marcus Davenport had, where at times you're like, oh my god, this guy's unbelievable. But
yeah,
he's good. He can be a good player on the D line, very good rotational player. But yeah, it's just a matter of staying on the field. He's big, strong, and he has a plan. And those things consistently show up with him. I think if he can be out there, I mean, I think they're better. Chase Young, obviously, that group, I think can be really good. If Foskey could give them anything, it's just icing on the cake. And I think they need more depth at that position, obviously, because there's a lot of injury risk. But yeah, man, Foskey it's not coming together for him. And I think I'd maybe hope that he could be the last guy in that rotation. But after seeing the game, it just kind of killed my expectations for him.
Go ahead, Jake. You got anything else?
There's going to be disappointment in my question. Same situation. It's just like that position, and you've tried to figure somebody out, and for different reasons, they just haven't worked out. Like we were talking about the other day, like I can't imagine like when McCoy, like on the offensive front, like when he's going out there and he's playing at a high level, and just the guys next to him, it's just been the bomb squad. It's just been miss after miss. I mean, Cesar Ruiz played horrible the other night, and that's a player that you have to count on, you have to believe in. So it's not just one guy. I mean, it's like just multiple guys. Like you mentioned, there's two that you feel comfortable with right now, Nick, and I just with a quarterback that doesn't deal with pressure well at all. Like, in fact, like it is kind of his kryptonite. I just don't know what is going to help this Saints, like regardless of what they showed the other night. Like, you can not show something, but if you're getting beaten your one-on-one matchups up front, I don't really think that it matters.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you can help it with play action, but again, like you go at some point, you got to drop back and just block. Honestly, like you have to do that, and it's just not good. But yeah, I mean, look, if he's back there, like it's not just even the pressure thing. Like I think he gets like rattled altogether. Like you see him sniping at McCoy last year, like. If he's getting hit all the time, like I think just the ability to kind of have a cohesive offense, like is just ruined, like in the locker room. Like I think it's just bad overall. Like
wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.